Hi, I'm Dan Fazio, and I am here with James Bendel. He is our 2023 Pittsburgh Veteran of the Year. Hi, James.
How's it going, sir?
Good. Thanks for joining us today. And once again, congratulations on being named the Pittsburgh Vetrepreneur of the Year. I think I misspoke there and called you the Veteran of the Year, but it's the Vetrepreneur of the Year, which is an award for veteran business owners who are wildly, outstandingly successful.
I
Now that
appreciate
you've
that.
had some time to reflect on that, how's it feel?
Oh, it's awesome, man. It's definitely shown our community what we can do out here, and kind of put us on the map a little bit. Brought us a lot of contacts, a lot of connections with the event that was held just a few short months ago. Support has been up in that aspect, and that's exciting to see, obviously, as a business owner.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, that's great to hear. We just wanted to share a little bit of your story with our audience today. So let's start with your military experience. Obviously, as a vetrepreneur, that's a combination of a veteran and entrepreneur. So you're an Army veteran. Can you tell us a little bit about your Army service? Where and when did you serve, and what was your MOS?
I was a 19 Delta Cav Scout. I was in 3rd Brigade, 2nd ID, 114 Cav. We were Fort Lewis, Washington is where I was based for almost 7 years of service. Deployed twice overseas to Iraq, and my business name, Crazy Horse Coffee, is actually named after my unit, which was Crazy Horse Troop 114 Cav. So,
Gotcha. And if I recall, you earned a Purple Heart during your one of your two tours, correct?
yes, sir. Yeah, first tour, Purple Heart. I was a gunner, and we were being ambushed for a few miles, and I was the one of the lucky winners of the Purple Heart. Yes, sir.
Well, we appreciate your sacrifice for our nation. Well, so tell me, when you came to the end of your service, what was your exit plan?
Didn't exactly have a great one, but worked for a marketing company for a short time. Learned a lot really fast, and then that fizzled out in about 3 months. So
Yeah,
within that, did some networking, found another opportunity that brought me back to Pittsburgh, and I'm from Latrobe originally, so not too far from home. And then, like I say, everything happens for a reason, right?
yeah,
And then, I ended up in oil and gas for several years, and I still consult oil and gas today. So I've been doing that for almost 15 years now.
hmm,
And in the midst of that, um, found myself in coffee shops and using their Wi-Fi to send sales reports. So that's why we have a coffee shop now, because I was sitting in one wondering, why isn't this mine? So here we
yeah,
are.
yeah. Well, when the just rewinding a little bit back to your exit from separation from the army, what would you say, looking back, was your biggest challenge in making that military to civilian transition?
Accountability and ownership
Could you
of
expand on that a little bit?
everything, be accountable of yourself and own the things that you are. The military is an institutionalization that really teaches you specifically what to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to do it, all that stuff. And um, the civilian world doesn't do that at all, right? It's always different. But being accountable and handling it the proper way will always get you to the top, in my opinion. Um, uh, I'll expand on that a little bit. So, just leaving a meeting of, an employee and a troublesome time. Do I fire that employee? Do I do what the military would do? No, no, I would not do that. But what I will do is I'll be accountable and have a professional conversation with that individual, and we're going to try to win together. We're going to create the team that the military taught us to teach, but we're going to try to do it together and successfully within a small business like this. It's not always easy, but you have to be accountable of that.
Yeah. Well, you talked a little bit about how you were inspired. What inspired you to start your own coffee shop? How did you turn that into reality? I mean, for example, how did you get the financing to open your own shop? And What did you know about being a coffee shop owner?
Nothing. I didn't even drink coffee. Um, yeah, so started again, like I said, in coffee shops. I would just be sitting there and eventually wondered, why isn't this my shop? I was on the road several hours a day and out of town a lot, so I didn't put Wi-Fi in my own home. So that's why coffee shops, right?
Mhm.
Um, eventually, uh, once I'd come up with the idea to go ahead and open the coffee shop, so I started looking into the SBA. I ended up attaining a loan through the SBA, and then now a
Was it a
second one.
Patriot loan?
Nope, no, those weren't a thing whenever I opened this up.
Okay.
Apparently, they had done away with that. This is just an SBA. I can't remember the numbers of the actual
That's
uh,
fine.
call it nomenclature of the loan, because this is the second one was different than the first one.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure exactly what that was by definition, but at any rate, they make sure you got money and they make sure you've got assets, and then they make sure it's covered by at least like 20%, I feel like. And then they also look at your background. I mean, they groom my resume, they obviously check my credit and all that kind of stuff. So anybody getting out of the military, I would definitely suggest, if you plan to open a business, make sure you've got assets and a damn good credit score. um, but all things considered, yeah, we ended up getting a loan for what 189,000 for the first and 198,000 for the second. Those would have been our two loans so far. And in the midst of COVID and everything else, we received um, an EIDL loan at that time too. So all
Okay.
things considered, we're hoping to be debt free on the first one within the next, I'd say, 6 months.
Okay. What
So
would you say
five
was
months on a 10-year loan.
okay? What would you say was the biggest challenge for you just getting it off the ground?
Um, being relevant, um, coming over that social media hump and putting yourself out there. Um, not really the limelight type of person. Sure, I'll do as much as I can to help anybody, but I'm not the guy that wants to stand there on camera and talk about myself or what I'm doing, which was kind of nice with this situation because, to be honest, I would have never put myself in for that kind of award, and somebody else did, who knows what our story is and understands what we're doing out here.
Yeah.
Um, that that really helped. I mean, I don't know if you could tell when I was standing up there on that podium, but um, definitely not a fan of standing on a podium.
You did a
So
great job.
I appreciate it. But yeah, that was a big hurdle for us to jump over that and put yourself out there, be relevant, and then this wouldn't have just survived on coffee alone and drinks alone. You have to add, just like yourself and your personal financial statement, you have to have avenues of income that that you didn't know you were going to have whenever you wrote your first business plan, right? That's something that I had to, step away from, detach myself from my business plan, and just take it as it came. If e-commerce came around the corner in 2020 and we took the opportunity to try it, and it paid off. So take the risk. That's all.
Okay. What has your military training and experience helped you as a business owner, and if so, how?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it is along with the quote unquote institutionalization, right? There's also something to be said for being able to put up with that for a long time. So it sets you apart from people who haven't had it as hard or hadn't had the challenges that you may have had. I mean, climbing a 50-foot rope isn't easy. Um, you know, driving down the streets in a war zone isn't simple either. People that haven't had that experience, um, they don't see it quite the same way. The rain might ruin their day, whereas oh well, you still got to get up and kick ass, if you will, right? Like that, just because the weather's bad or something's weighing on your mind. Military does a good job of pushing that to the side so you can achieve your goals. In short,
Mhm. What advice you provided some a little bit already, but what's your biggest piece of advice for another veteran or transitioning service member who's maybe getting ready to get out and they'd like to be their own boss and own their own business, what's like the best piece of advice you'd give them?
Don't quit. That's the biggest piece of advice. Don't quit. Don't stop. Keep trying. Just whenever you think you laid your head down too early, don't quit. If you feel like you woke up too late, don't quit. Just try to stay consistent. If you stay consistent, it will pay off. That's the biggest one. We got a little choppy there.
Very good. So you also give back to the community. Can you talk a little bit about that? How you do give back to the community?
Yes, sir. So with the coffee shop, even currently we have a deal now, whereas if you buy a bag of coffee online, we're donating a bag to send to troops that are deployed. Most recently, we did that around Veterans Day. We yielded 200 bags. So we indeed held our promise and shipped 200 bags to deployed soldiers to 3 different areas. The current promotion that we have running is the same, where we donate a bag if you buy a bag. But the other thing, the caveat to that is we also created some T-shirts that on the back say "Remember Everyone Deployed" with our logo smack dab in the middle of it. So we're making some moves with that. It's kind of cool to see the community come in and actually get this shirt, and they're like, "Wow, this is really cool," and they want to support. So that's going to help fuel that initiative a little more, and maybe get to the point where we can do more than coffee, or we can do more than T-shirts and mugs, right? That's kind of the goal there. But within our own community, past the most recent initiatives that we've done, we do PA Vet Pets. They're a local group here in Washington who give service dogs to veterans that might need them. They're not fully trained. They're just service dogs. They don't know how to pick up anything per se. They just act as a comfort dog, if you will, to somebody who may need it. We're actually attending their gala this weekend, and we've donated some things to that. The Guardian Angel Service group that had the event there, they most recently reached out to me since that event to do some bags of coffee for a fundraiser of their event as well. The local school's choir, teachers that have events going on, will donate coffee to them to where they can serve it, sell it, make a profit, and then come in and pick all of our stuff up later. Gosh, the list goes on and on. We have a nonprofit called Help Hard. There's a portal through our website where we take applications for assistance from anything from a basket to a bag of coffee to a full-blown catering, if you will. We can usually raise enough money through any sort of promotion to go ahead and fuel our nonprofit to pay for some of those things.
That's quite a bit. That's very impressive. And that's one of the pieces that earned you this award as the 2023 Pittsburgh Vetrepreneur of the Year. And I'd just like to say again, once again, congratulations. And is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's it, sir. I appreciate your reaching out, and I'm sure this won't be the end of this road.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, it's great talking to you today, James. Thanks so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Okay. Take care now.
All right, bye.